time, we certainly can celebrate those individuals who have contributed to the service. And I mentioned the first two Caymanian directors and deputy directors of the prison service. If we went further back than that, the commissioners of police would have been the directors of prison service as well when they were all combined. But we have a completely different situation now. We are also focusing our efforts on the needs, the particular needs of prisoners, as well, and to do that in a more positive light. But I'll have you, talk more about that. You're better trained to do that than I am.
I'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
I've only been in the prison service for 6 years. The 21st of October actually made 6 years that I've been a prison officer. And I remember why I joined. And it was not about, rehabilitation or, locking up inmates or anything like that, because I had no knowledge on that. I was in college and I said, geez, I want to buy my house at 20. And if I keep going to school, that will never happen. So I started applying for work, and I applied for the prison in 2014, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I did horribly in the interview. I did good in every single aspect, but in the interview it was horrible, and it really cut me a bit. And I said, well, I never wanted to get in anyway. And my mom rejoiced because she didn't want her son in prison, because naturally when people hear prison, they think it's a place that I don't want to be in. It's a place that I don't want my family to be in. It's a place that I don't even want to talk about. Naturally, that tends to be the view of people, and my mom was no different. And I remember the following year, a friend of mine, because we applied together, who got in, and he said, you should apply again, And I did, and I was the best this time, to say the least. And over the years, I've really applied myself, because I learned more as I get in. I understood what rehabilitation is, and it's not just about locking up prisoners. It's not about, lock them up and throw away the key. It's more than that. It is about loving someone who's never been loved. It's about being a father figure or a brother or an uncle, because a lot of time you realize that these guys are coming from broken homes, broken families, and that is sort of what led them to being in the position that they're in. And then they come to us for help. Now imagine if you were in our position, right? People are coming to you for help, but the facility that you have is, not really fit for purpose. And that is what we have to work with at the prison, which is a very difficult task. But we do our best at doing that. And we see some good results, like we'll go out and we'll see guys who were actually in prison, and we say, how you doing? And they say, boy, everything that you've taught us, we've actually held on to, and we're doing our best. Now, as Mr. Connor mentioned, I specialize in behavioral management, which means when it comes on to dealing with prisoners directly, meeting their needs where education is concerned and behavioral management is concerned, I'm directly involved in that. And as a result, I would understand exactly how they view things. And I remember one specific, in one class, I was speaking to an inmate, and he looked at me and he said, Millie, you know what? This is my view, If I'm doing something and it's providing for my family, it's good in my eyes and it's good in God's eyes, and I don't care about anybody else. And I said, I could understand that completely, but let's reverse the roles. What if I said that and whatever I did had an impact on your family? Maybe I killed your son. How would that make you feel? And it goes to show that inmates tend to not necessarily think about their actions or who it impact. They just do whatever provides for them. And then our job now is to take them and say, listen, we understand that that is what you've been doing. That is why you're in this position. The same family that you wanted to take care of, you're taken away from them because of what you were doing. So now this is the route that you're supposed to take, because it is possible. Many people out there are doing it. It's not like the entire society is in prison. You know what I mean? And that is what we have to do as staff, encouraging them. And, you know, it is so important that that actually comes out in the service, because at the end of the day, if that is not happening, then we will have recidivism just growing up, and it's quite high at this time, just to say the least. And it goes a long way, because when it comes on to delivering certain programs, you know, we don't necessarily have capacity for that in terms of building and stuff like that, you know. So we really want to look into getting a new prison, and that will really help us to do a much better job in terms of rehabilitation. And, you know, I also want to mention that we've always thought, or the community has always thought, that rehabilitation is just for the prison, and that is false. That is a false notion. It couldn't be further from the truth. It is a community work, because rehabilitation does not end with the prison. It also incorporates reintegration. And if you know individuals who were in prison and are coming out, and you decide that you're going to treat them a certain way, remember, you know, we are dealing with them and telling them that you need to learn to live in society and stuff like that. But when society is not accepting of them, when they've paid the time for their error, that will probably create a worse prisoner than the one who actually came to prison. And that is something that we, as a community, we have to take into consideration. So if you know any prisoner and you have a business and they're seeking employment, give them a chance, because that's what they really need, a second chance at life.
And a word of advice for those persons who have a